Someone said, "What's the future?" Vaughn Coleman.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm back from the theater. I was just having this milkshake on the way back. I'm from New Jersey. Stopped by a Wawa, and I decided to throw some caffeine in there. Because here's the thing: after I already had a laundry list of stuff to do, I have a coffee too. My sleep schedule has been horrible this week. Because I have a little comic book coming out, which I'll talk about in a bit. But yeah, I mean, I'm all over the place. But I already knew I had a lot to get to. But I was like, I got to see this movie in theaters. When my friend said it, I was like, absolutely. And the timing, it's funny. It's like I pushed my campaign date back twice. And everything has worked out perfectly because this movie is one of I'm going to say it, my biggest inspiration for writing the comic book that I'm writing now. I came up with the idea when I was a kid before I even had really read comics. And I'm glad I got this while I was there. Boom. Check that out. Might hang that up or something. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. And especially watching it again, I just felt invigorated to come back and create. Like, yeah, this is how I do it. I mean, like, where do I even begin with this movie? I mean, watching it again, I was like, yep, I use that. It's such a perfectly structured movie. It really is. I mean, people say Spider-Man 2 is the best, and maybe there's some less nostalgia for Spider-Man 2. I've seen it less time. I've still seen it a bunch, but this is still my favorite. And it's one of my favorite movies, period, dude. I mean, I adore this movie. I mean, let's start from the beginning, right? Even the opening credits, I love. One thing I will say, though, is I know it's based on the character created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, right? Would it have killed them to put Romita up there? I know then you have to start, because there is the Golden Gate Bridge scene, which is inspired by the death of Gwen Stacy, even though it's not said. So technically, you could argue then you'd have to include Jerry Conway. But I feel like there's enough characters by Romita, like the Osborn. Well, the Osborns, yeah, they were created by Romita. Mary Jane. And that I think it's fair to justify him, being in there. Whatever. Anyway, I mean, what do I love about this movie? God, it's hard to know where to start. I love the opening credits, and then I love the opening scene. I was really, as I'm a writer and not just a fan, I'm picking up on all the stuff they do, and they do everything so well. There's also all the memes in this movie now, like the scenes that become memes, like I'm something of a scientist myself, my friend, and I look at each other. Or the Bonesaw scene. Dude, Bonesaw, I've seen this movie countless times, and this is the first time I was rooting for Bonesaw to win. And I was also concerned, real quick, that they were going to, censor the scene. There's the one part where Spider-Man goes, "That's a cute outfit. Did your husband get it for you?" And apparently I had heard that they had taken that out in certain releases, and I was afraid they'd do that. They didn't. So that's always nice. Because it's a funny line, and there's no malicious intent there. It's fine. But, dude, the casting in this movie is so good. I love Toby as Peter. Look, Toby, he's not sarcastic enough. He's sweet, but you gotta love the guy. It's just he's so endearing. He's such a good character, and I mean. All right, so the opening scene, I love that it opens with that narration. It's like, who am I? You sure you really want to know? It starts with the girl. And I appreciate it even more that it ends with him. He gets the girl, but he can't take her. And I think I never fully appreciated that to this extent. And then he goes, who am I? I'm Spider-Man. So he wants the girl, but then once you realize what it means to be Spider-Man, it means he can't have her. Dude, this movie is so good. It's so good. With great power comes great responsibility. It's that ending theme, right? It's that echo. It's that what do we call it? Bookends. I mean, that's what it is, and it's so well done. I really adore it. I love like every aspect of this movie. I mean, I love one thing. One of my friends pointed out, and this is true, is I love the New Yorkers in this movie. They're so great. The extras they get for the movie when they cut to everyone talking about Spider-Man. It's all these little things, and they do have a lot of these edits that are kind of cheesy, but they work. They work. So like everything about this movie works. That's the thing. And you know what's funny is I've seen this movie so many times, and I was like, Mary Jane sucks. She's the worst part. Even down to the last time I watched it. And I haven't read comics and whatever. And look, she's a totally different character from the MJ in the comics, right? Totally different character. But I found myself like rooting for her and really liking her this time around. So it's weird. Like you could see this movie a million times, and like I remember I have fond memories as a kid of staying home from school sick, putting this movie on. This is one of my defaults. You know, it was up there with Jaws, Indiana Jones, my pick of whatever James Bond movie I felt like watching. This was on my regular rotation, Star Wars. And I mean, I think it's just the routine watching it and getting, in a weird way, it was like it taught me the hero's journey without teaching me the hero's journey. It taught me the superhero genre without teaching me, if that makes sense. And it's really something special. It's really something special. And God, man, like there's so much I love about this movie. I mean, I've said that a million times, but I like that it starts off and then it echoes it at the end, right? But even down to like the way they convey all the information is so smooth. Like, oh, Peter, who is he? Okay, he has a crush on MJ, but I wish I could be that guy. Hell, I'd even take that guy. And then he goes, no, he's the guy behind the bus. And then it's like you follow him into the world. And it's like you're introduced to the world of his high school through the eyes of a loser. And then you get Harry. Harry's introduced, never be ashamed of who you are. And then I realized this the first time you hear that he's living with his aunt and uncle is just a off the cuff line of dialogue with Norman Osborn. So you get who the Osborns are, you get Harry is, all before they walk into the museum, and then you have them bullying, Peter. I mean, there's so much that they establish before he gets bitten by a spider, before we even see Aunt May and Uncle Ben, and it's the way they go through it all is so meticulously well paced. It's like I was kind of just marveling at it. Also, correct me if I'm wrong. Hold on. But wasn't the because I know there were some like Easter egg characters from the comics, right? But I'm not crazy. The teacher. All right, for some reason I had heard somewhere that the teacher was like Professor Warren from the comics, who's the Jackal, but I don't think there's any that, at least according to Google, that's not true. Octavia Spencer is in this movie also for like 2 seconds. Which I forgot about. But all right, let's keep going through the movie, right? Because there's so much to talk about. Yeah. Oh my God, it's so good. First of all, Michael Rushbrook, how you doing? The Sam Raimi Spider-Man films are spectacular and amazing. And what are the other adjectives they've used to describe him in the comics? They're spectacular, amazing, ultimate, and that doesn't really fit. Sensational, I guess. That was like Ben Reilly or something, right? So another thing that was great, right, about these movies is, hey, peeps, what's going on, Edwin? Another thing that is great is you can really see my this was not my first time, but let me know what, like, when your first time is. I think I saw it on TV I think the first one I saw was Spider-Man 2, or at least part of it when I was little, but this one, and then I saw Spider-Man 3 in theaters, I think, before I actually watched the original, and the original is can't be topped. That you could see Sam Raimi's horror influence in so many things. Like I was really like, it's weird. It's like I'm seeing it through different lenses every time I'm watching the movie, depending on my mentality. But I always walk away appreciating it. You know, there's movies you watch as a kid that you go back to and you're like, or especially, oh my god, as a comic book fan who got introduced to superheroes through film and stuff, I almost always am like, oh, so they fucked that up. But this is one where I'm like, they got it right. They got it right. They got everything. I mean, there are differences, but I'm okay with them. And it's not just for nostalgia, right? I'm jumping all over the place. I apologize. But like, anyway, so Sam Raimi's horror influence. You see it in a bunch of ways. Like, for example, when he gets bitten by the spider and there's like the skull effects. And again, I've argued that's cheesy, but it works. It's effective, man. Or even Norman's transformation scene, which, by the way, Green Goblin, I forgot how well written he was. I'm going to get to that. God, I should have made a list. Whatever. Back to form. You know, that whole part where they have the music and it sounds almost like a horror, like dun, 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 dun. Or like you have Norman that he gets the gas that blocks him and he's like spazzing out, right? They could have done that in so many different ways. He chose to up the horror ante, and then he jumps up, he throws him, like he's got the close up, the zoom in. Like you could tell this is a horror movie director, right? That this is a guy with a background in that. And like most horror movie fans, because people are like, oh, you're in a horror box, but people are usually not just into horror. And once you're in that subgenre, it's like you're there for life. But they'll always have, like I had the cover artist for Goosebumps, and he's like, yeah, I'm not even a horror fan. You know, Sam Raimi, you could tell that this is a guy who also, I believe he said, likes comics, right? But it's like there are horror influences, especially with the goblin stuff. Another example, and I'm like, because I'm like, only a horror movie director would do it this way. Another example I'm thinking of, I mean, the suspense. There were so many examples of suspense that even if they weren't done in a horror way, what's going on, Chimera? Sorry, I do hear you guys talking, but I'm distracted enough as is that I want to focus on, and then I will get to you. Like, okay, for example, there's the scene. And it's like I know this movie like the back of my hand at this point, and even still, I'm still noticing new things. But like, there's a scene right where Spider-Man goes into the house, and then you see that boom, or you see him go in, right? They're like the baby, and then he goes in, and you wait, and there's that boom, and then that second boom with Spider-Man flying out with the baby. So that is like really special because that it's like he gets the maximum amount of suspense out of that scene, right? That it's like he didn't have to do that. It could have just, if it was a different director, I almost feel like he could have just swooped in, came out with the baby just in the nick of time. But Sam Raimi, like really, you have that shot where it's like, or I'm not coming back, Chief. It's all these little buildups. And it's like a horror movie, you know, where it's like tightening the string, it's gonna snap, and then Spider-Man saves the day. And I think that's the ultimate difference between that and a horror movie. Another within that sequence more is like when Spider-Man is approaching and you see the woman crying, and then it turns around and it's screams and hits Spider-Man. That again, that's like Raimi's horror director going through, right? You totally see that. And then it cuts to Norman in the elevator where he's like, I don't know how to do it, you know? Like that's again, a lot of those reaction shots are straight out of Evil Dead. Of course, we do appreciate the Bruce Campbell cameo. Great stuff. And then you know, there's that. And Chimera said, do what you need to and broom her fast. Harry Osborn's a dick. Because he could have just been like, yeah, honey, what he said, that was so out of line. I'm sorry. He had a perfect excuse with MJ, right? He could have just been like, what he said's totally out of line. does not speak for my values, honey. I'll have you know. I was thinking about how I would have responded, really, because I was like, this fucking guy, like, unbelievable. He just goes, "Hey, you don't know what you don't understand." Like my dad, like your dad was being an asshole, objectively. Like he grabs this stuff. You know, Aunt May is the sweetest woman, and even she slaps his hand. Like, what an asshole! And then and again, I really liked MJ this time around. I normally am like, she sucks. She's basic. She bounces between men. But here it's like I felt for her more. And I saw Harry as more of a dick. Like he was, but God. Michael Rushbrook brings up a good point. Seeing the first movie for the first time was magical, made me feel like a kid again. Yeah, man. I mean, I was a kid, but watching that movie brought me back to the and I do think that like everything happens for a reason. So as frustrating as it was to have my launch pushed back, the fact that it was this week and I got to right before I launch revisit this movie that inspired it, I feel like a kid again. Right? I really feel like a kid again. And it's like I'm a kid with a dream. And it's like kind of like how Peter had at the beginning where he's like, who am I? And then at the end he goes, who am I? I'm Spider-Man. It's like it gave me that like, yes, this is why I'm creating. This is why I love superheroes. Even down to like, so in my comic, I had scenes of, and I would revisit this movie when I was writing. There's the parts where he's testing out his powers, and that's part of why my comic is 64 pages of the origins, because I really felt that when I finally went to, and I know this might sound like sacrilege, when I went to the original Spider-Man comic, I was almost disappointed because I had seen the Raimi ones so many times, so they really take the time to unveil all these supporting characters and his powers. And then it's like they just go point, and it's all good. But I mean, I'm sorry, the movie version where they really take the time with every emotion. It's just great. It's great. It actually is fitting because Ditko was known for horror, if I remember correctly, before Spider-Man, and it's fitting that the Spider-Man movie director would be known for horror before. That's kind of a funny coincidence. But I mean, I was very careful about, okay, I would write down all these possible ways for how my main character could experiment with or discover his powers when he first gets them. Kind of like in the movies, or ways you could accidentally discover it. Like this movie, I'm telling you, man, like it was the biggest, more than any comic book, inspired my comic, and I even have some that I've left out of the script. Like you know what, I'll tell you one, because it's already penciled in past this point. Like one of the ones, like one of the ones is that I had rejected was, so he has super speed and electricity. Was like he speeds, he accidentally knocks a lamp off his desk, he picks it up and then zaps it and destroys it. That was maybe I'll reuse that idea later, but I was like little things like that. I'd write out ways for how to do the character's powers. And this movie, and here's the thing, there is one difference, one key there's obviously multiple, but the organic weapon. Obviously, I prefer, especially as I've gotten more into the comics, that he creates the webbing himself. But the movie is so well paced and everything done, especially early on, the beat. It's done in such a meticulous manner that I'm like, I get it. I get why they did it that way, because it was like inciting incident. Then he starts discovering his powers. And while it's cool that he invented the web fluid himself, let's think about that logically, right? That means we have to introduce a new element of him experimenting with it while accidentally discovering his powers. Whereas in the movie, he does the web thing by accident, which leads him to that altercation with Flash Thompson, which leads him to discover that he has this spider sense and strength, which leads to him then wall crawling, which leads to him jumping, which leads back to the web fluid. That sequence could not have happened in that way and in that amount of time with that amount of focus, and just if he had invented the web fluid, because then that would be an entirely new element. Because here he is discovering his powers. Here he is, inventing it. It's almost like it would have taken away from the idea that it's just fate. that he stumbled onto this and now he has to adjust his life. And so while obviously I do prefer the web fluid, in terms of the writing and pacing of this movie, I get why they made that decision. It does make sense and it does work in the context of the movie, you know? And I'm not a guy who typically is like making excuses for differences, but I do get that one, especially again from the pacing standpoint. And that's another. Speaking of which, too, despite like a lot of the movie being the origin story and Green Goblin not appearing until after that is complete, there are 4 different. I mean, even if they're not all full on, there are 4 different Green Goblin fights in this movie. They have the parade. They have the part where he goes sleep, you know, which isn't really as much of a fight, but you know what I mean. And then there's the what was the third one? The house, the burning house that I mentioned earlier, and then finally there's the bridge. 4 different fights in one movie. Meanwhile, the second Venom movie has 1 fight with Carnage. Like, are you kidding? Venom and Carnage fight 1 time. Ridiculous. They need to learn from these guys. I mean, there's so much good in this movie, even down to like Betty Brant, like that. Hey, I'm a photographer. I noticed. Like, there's a lot of great comedy in this movie, and that they put characters in the comics like that. Like, even that was a wink and a nod to the fact that they had a relationship in the comics, right? Except here it's more like a rejection. Although I think she does kind of reciprocate in Spider-Man 3. There's that. There's Robbie Robertson comes up. Hoffman, of course, Ted Raimi is great. There's what else is there? I mean, there's just so much good in this movie. The cast, like I said, I really feel for Kirsten Dunst when she's like, "Hey, you know," she's like pretending she's not a waitress because she's ashamed of it because of Harry. And that's the first time. That's another thing in that line of dialogue. That is the first time we learn about, because I forgot there's not really a scene where MJ and Harry get together, nor is there a scene where you see Peter and Harry are living together. Both of those bits of information are conveyed in that scene, which I find really interesting, the way they went about that. And then on top of that, you have that moment where Peter's like, "Yeah, I didn't know about it," like as a shot at Harry. When it's like, "I can't wait to meet Norman's like, I can't wait to meet this girl." It's like, "Yeah, I haven't heard about her." You know, there's so good, dude. Bonesaw. I love Bonesaw. I really love Bonesaw. Oh man, JJJ is great. Yes, dude. Every scene that he's in, like immediately, and again, a lot of these throughout the whole movie, they're introducing like one of the things that's also is they're consistently holding your focus, and it never feels like they're cramming too much in. And a lot happens in this movie, dude. You get like, look at how many story beats when you break it down happen. And it never feels dragged out, or it never feels. And I'm surprised because I'm like, oh, I thought that scene was almost longer, but I'm like, but no, it just gave you everything you needed. It's really each scene, none of them feel too rushed. It just gets to the next scene and it gives you what you want. I mean, there's obviously the talk with Uncle Ben. That scene is great. Uncle Ben's death, man, always gets me. It's just another horror movie scene too. Speaking of JJJ, he throws the cigar out the window, right? It's an off the cuff thing, and then back on his desk. They wait a second, and then he comes in. Or even let's think of the way Spider-Man goes after the thug, right? You see him kind of come down and he's hanging upside down and he goes up. Another thing, by the way, you notice how like they don't make Spider-Man kill in his movies. It's almost like you could easily just make a superhero movie where he doesn't kill. every Batman director. Could you maybe do that? Like, it's not hard. It's not hard. By the way, I was gonna wear a Spider-Man shirt. It was like in the wash because it wasn't planned out. So yeah, uh, man, it's just so good. But that scene, even also where Spider-Man hits, like he attacks the burglar, and then it's the lighting is perfect. He takes the mask off. You see Spider-Man's face, Peter's face, and then you see the same light reflect, and then he has the guy, and you have the flashback. Uh, and then when he pushes him and he trips, and the thing is, you got to realize, like, Peter, if he really wanted to save him, could have saved him. So he doesn't kill him, but he also lets him die, the thug. And again, that's an important distinction. Oh, and it's a really great scene. And it's one of those things where, yeah, that's different from the comics, right? In the comics, he didn't confront that guy early on, but I get it. You have to move on to the next point. And there is one little moment that I didn't really notice until I was watching it this time. Is when he's about to, because there's scenes where he's swinging around, right, earlier on. But it's not until he's doing it for a noble cause. Like, it's right after Uncle Ben dies, and then he sees the police car that he gets, and he has this moment where he's holding on, and he waits for a second. And it's almost like him deciding in that moment. And I didn't realize this until, I was rewatching it for the however manyth time tonight. It's almost like he takes a moment, and then when he decides to step forward, that's when he becomes Spider-Man. That's when he makes, it's like now he's like, I'm using my powers for something good. This is the moment I'm taking the choice. And it's a quiet, unspoken moment, but it's a few seconds, because every other time he's swinging, he's place to place to place to place. Even after he does that, it's just like, it's a thing, but it's like that was a time where he really took a moment, and then he goes, yeah, I'm doing this. And I love that. It's just chock full of so many great moments. The New Yorkers are great. All the extras are great. It's so heartfelt and optimistic. Like, there's the one part where it's like the New Yorkers, like, you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. Like the fact when Spider-Man's holding Mary Jane and he's got the what is it, like the gondola, and then the barge is like, we're gonna help you, and then the New Yorkers also throw shit at the Green Goblins, like, you mess with one of us, you mess with all. Like, that's just peak humanity. And it's like, this movie is made by people who actually believe in the best of humanity, or at least want to project that into the film, which is what superheroes are all about. There's this sense of community in New York, but it also doesn't shy away from, like, yeah, people have mixed thoughts, people say weird things. Some people are like, Spider-Man is a menace, but it's overall a positive outlook on life. And it's almost like those are the people that should be making superhero stories, right? Oh, and it's like, it gets me back because I'm like, this is what I needed when I was a kid. And it's like, it's what I'm putting back out there in the world. And I don't know if, like, for my comic to be this good as the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, but I try. Obviously it's not the same, not beat for beat. I'll never, but I took a lot from it. And I think it's such a perfectly crafted origin story, that it's an origin story that builds into the superhero movie, and it's such a natural. The montages in this movie, that's I took from the montage. The rejected the costume scene where he's sketching that out. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to say that too. We were walking out of the theater as the Nickelback song was playing, because I did have some work to get to, but also my friends were walking out, so I was like, I gotta go. Otherwise, I'll be honest, I would have sat in the theater and listened to Hero by Nickelback, no question, when that plays. It's part of the experience. But you better believe when I got in my car that I put that shit on. Oh my God. That's a good song. I don't care. Like, everyone's like, Nickelback's the worst It's like there are way worse bands than Nickelback. I'm not some like Nickelback. Yeah, all right, I got it. It's gonna be a late night tonight. I'm not some like Nickelback fanboy, but like it's a banger. That's a good song. Oh my god, dude. It's like, all right, I love when superhero movies or media in general are done by people that A, don't fucking hate humanity, and B, like superheroes. That'd be great if only they could. And also, if they're when they're good, and this movie is genuine. It has heart. The characters appear genuine. There's sincerity in this movie, right? Oh my god, like even again, it's like the way they New York. Really, I really liked MJ, and I hate MJ usually when I'm watching this movie, and I loved her, man. And also she was looking good in some of those scenes. Anyway, what's up, Master Swag King? How you doing, man? Looks like you had fun at the Vegas meetup. John A. Douglas, what's going on? Oh, you got a turnout tonight. How you guys doing? By the way, if anyone wants to have me on their show after I launch, let me know. I've got it booked, but Spider-Man 2 is going to be in theaters next week. So I'm probably going to do this again after Spider-Man 2, except I might do it in like the morning or something because I do have interviews planned all like next week. But I'm probably going to do this. They're doing this for like every Spider-Man movie. Now so to answer Michael's question again in the chat, Spider-Man 1 is still my favorite. But I do have to watch Spider-Man 2 again. Yeah, most people say Spider-Man 2. I mean, and can we talk Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin is like that is such perfect casting. Like he hit the face and like that guy was like born to play that role. And he does so well. The mirror scenes, I mean, every scene. And look, I will say, if you guys ever look, there is a better Green Goblin costume. There is. But it doesn't matter. It's okay. Because the movie is so good. And there is stuff you could argue is cheesy and inconsistent. Like, okay, why does the one pumpkin bomb like literally turn the guys into skeletons, right? Am I? And then did I hit my mic? And then they go into skeletons, but then later in the movie, one hits Peter right in his face, and his just mask gets like hurt a little, and he's kind of got like a bloody lip. And it's like, what? Yeah, I mean, it's so. Let's see. John Douglas says you were high on my list for the launch. I got my money ready. Thank you so much, man. Yeah, I'm probably going to be revealing the tiers tomorrow. But well, you know what? I'll tell you some of them now. So there's like the tiers basically are so the main cover is going to be $20. Then all the variants are going to be $25 each. Then obviously I'll have do me a favor when you're backing the tiers just because it's easier for shipping, just select the tier you want. So there's a tier that's like 2 variant covers if you want that. There's a main and a variant. There's a main and 2 variants. There's 3 variants, or there's just all 4 covers. Those are going to be the main tiers. And then there's an everything tier that comes with a little poster of the main cover. And then there will be like the big tiers that even if just like 1 or 2 people get is fine, or just whoever gets. There's like the $500 tier where it's just 5 of everything. There's there's going to be a producer tier, which I don't expect anyone to get, but I'm just like, you know what, if even one person is crazy enough to spend $1,000 on my campaign, I gotta just have a tier in case. So the producer tier is like just a shit, like you get producer credit and you get like $1,000 worth of books. That's what that is. Anyway, that's what that is. Yeah, I think I got that planned out. Let me make sure. Wait, producer tier. I want to make sure that I got that. All right, I'm gonna write that down for something to get back to after this. I got some art actually. I'm waiting on me. I wouldn't be doing this stream, but and I have a Final Fantasy VII video essay that is almost about to hit 2 hours as I'm editing it. And I'm just laying out the skeleton. I haven't even edited most of the gameplay footage in. This is gonna be a long video, but I'm excited for it. So I'm asking, hello, he's here too. Am I subscribed to you on YouTube? I'll make sure everyone make sure to subscribe to this guy. Imagine first time moviegoers watch Superman the movie and how they must have felt believing a man can fly. I had that feeling watching Spider-Man 1. Oh, incredible. It's so nice. I was a little kid, right? This movie is not much older than me. Or not much younger than me. I'm 99. 1999. That's when I was born. So I am slightly older than this movie. But I didn't see it in theaters because I was still too little. But I did see Spider-Man 3 in theaters. You know what? I'll rip the Band-Aid off. Spider-Man 3 isn't even that bad. It's not. Like, all right, there are parts of it that are bad. But there are parts of it that are really good. It's a mess. But I can't hate Spider-Man 3. I'm an old Superman fan. I'm an old. Superman was the first time in my generation they got a superhero movie almost 100% right. I haven't rewatched that movie since I was a little kid. I need to rewatch that. I need to rewatch like most of those superhero movies. It's like I never revisited after Dale A says Sandman did not kill Uncle Ben. I never minded that, but I think saw Spider-Man 3 first, so maybe that's why it didn't bother me. Spidey. Oh, I read that wrong. Spider-Man's first time in my generation got a superhero movie almost 100% right. Yeah, aside from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, the X-Men movies, I haven't rewatched, and the Dark Knight movies, I haven't rewatched a lot of superhero movies from my childhood since getting into comics. I just never felt the need almost to go back. I don't know why. I just didn't. This movie is so good. And apparently for Spider-Man 4, by the way, I remember that movie was so hyped up. And we would have rumors on the school bus talking about who we heard was going to be the villains. I don't know, what you guys' experiences were, because apparently a lot of the rumors I heard just had no basis in reality. But then I do remember now that I'm thinking of it. Well, yeah, I mean, my source of information was just word of mouth. I didn't use the internet. So, here are the rumors I heard for Spider-Man 4. I heard everything from Carnage, Black Cat. Did I hear the because I know it was supposed to be the Vulture, but I don't think I even heard that as one of the rumors. It was Spider-Man 4 was gonna have Black Cat, Carnage, Lizard was one. I think I might have heard Mysterio. I think those were the pervading rumors when I was a kid. I gotta get to bed. 12-hour shift tomorrow. I'll be in touch. Sounds good, man. Thank you for stopping by. This has been so fun. I'm already forgetting a lot of what I wanted to say with this. I could talk. I might have to do an episode where I just get people to just gush about this movie. Because I adore this first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. It's so good, man. Spidey 2 had its issues. MJ is a pro. Yeah, MJ sucks in Spider-Man. But then again, I thought she sucked in the first one, and she doesn't. But that doesn't she fucking leave John Jameson at the altar? Which, look, here's the thing. Harry, especially rewatching it for the, again, however many time, is a dog shit boyfriend, right? But dude, John Jameson was really good to her. And obviously we want Peter to get her, but she fucking leaves this man at the altar. And you got to remember, after she gets kidnapped by Doc Ock, he shows up, honey, are you okay? He's so sweet. And it's really, dude? You're gonna leave that guy at the altar? What the hell? Fucked up. Like, god damn. Some messed up stuff. Really messed up. Yeah. But there's dude, and J. Jonah Jameson again. So J.K. like you will never be able to top that casting, and that's why I don't even think they dared try. Like, I resent that. What is it? What is it? I resent that. Slander is spoken. Print it's libel. What are you? What are you, his lawyer? Like, Chief, your wife wants to know whatever's cheapest. Like he's so perfect in that role. Like there are other things you could, and I do think Aunt May is perfect too. Like Toby, I do think while he's perfect for this movie, isn't his sense of humor is more like ha ha ha. I've eaten no one with a stick to get this, but it's not like that Josh Keaton Spectacular Spider-Man. That is like my favorite version in terms of the quips and everything. Like the quips in that show, that is my favorite version of Spider-Man. The quips in that show, top tier. Because Josh Keaton's Spider-Man is like probably my favorite. And they didn't get that, but yeah. It still works. Harry Osborn was pretty damn good. Who else was good? God. I mean, it's just in general, man. It's just so the soundtrack, dude. The soundtrack was good. Wait, I kind of feel the same way about Alfred. Oh, dude, old Alfred from the original. I love PS4 Spider-Man. He was great. I never played Spider-Man 2 for PS5. I heard that's great. But yeah, old Alfred. Dude, oh my God, I forgot about that. That guy was perfect. He had the look perfect. Yeah. I mean, I imagine he's probably no longer with us, but that actor was is that right? I assume you're talking about hold on. Where the hell is he? Give me a second. I know exactly who you're talking about. No. Him. Oh my God! Look at this! Look at this young man. Yeah, come on. Let me go out. What? I don't know what the hell else he was in. Like, dude, that's perfect, Alfred. Is that who you're talking about? Yeah. 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 This guy was so good. What else was he in, by the way? See? Yeah, 2011. Man, he was perfect. What else did he? Tony Award winner. Let's see. He was in Alice in Wonderland. Listen, he'll always be. Yeah. I forgot about how good he was at as Alfred. Yeah, man. There's some stuff that there's sometimes can't be topped. God. Yeah, who else? I'm trying to think. Like I know I'll never cover everything about this movie. Flash Thompson was good. Right, like I Flash. I do think Flash in the comics is like, so he doesn't look anything like Flash Thompson in the comics is blonde, but it doesn't matter. Flash Thompson, because he got that energy, but Flash Thompson is like goofier in the. I actually. When I was reading the 60s Spider-Man comics, I love Flash Thompson. Like, he's such a you guys know that one issue where Flash Thompson is like, yeah, I can prove I'm Spider-Man, and then he gets kidnapped by Doctor Doom because he's dressed like Spider-Man. Like, he's just so funny in the original comics. Yeah, Joe Manganiello is hilarious. Yeah, he is great, but it's like him in oh yeah, don't forget to hit like and sign up for Phenomenova, folks. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the campaign tiers should be. I'll be doing a video going through them probably tomorrow. The mini print I have. I'm probably gonna send you guys an email and post about it tomorrow. 67 cartoon is still great. I've never seen it. My mom grew up on the reruns, but I've never seen it. But no, Flash Thompson has some of my one of my favorite Flash Thompson moments. Let me. Oh wait, I am full screen. Got to be this one when they get into the boxing match. Dude, the '60s Spider-Man comics are so funny. You know what? And that's the thing. Actually, going full circle, that they get right is the goofiness. The goofiness of the original. All right, so God, dude, that Ditko face is so good. Where he just so it's like basically they get into a fucking boxing match because Peter's like, I'm sick of your shit, Flash, and they get into a fucking boxing match. Sorry, I had to do that to fix the focus because the whole school is like gonna make fun of him, or they're like he's like sick of Flash's shit, and the whole school thinks Flash is gonna win because they don't know that love that 9 panel layout. Me too. I more panels per page, please. I love 90s art, but like, dude, it's okay to like look, I'm a writer supremacist as a writer myself. More panels, please. All right. I do like these like sometimes less, but like, come on, guys. What was I saying? Like they're like Flash is just so they have this fight, and then it's like Peter's just barely he's gonna knock him out because Peter has a spider strength, but he doesn't want to convince anyone. And it's like he's about to knock Flash out in front of the school, and then Flash looks away for a split second in that panel, and Peter punches. So like, you sucker, punched him, Peter, and it totally backfires. I love it. It's so Parker luck is what they call it. One of my favorite Flash Thompson insults. I love it so much. It's so dumb. Is one of my favorite Flash Thompson moments in the comics. He has so many like one-liners that are like really bad, and they're bad and good, if that makes. Whereas there's one issue, it's Spider-Man. I think it's the second time he fights the Vulture when he breaks his arm. Hold on, let me check the index here. And it's so dumb. Like this insult is so cartoonishly stupid, and I love it. It's where so Peter breaks his arm fighting the Vulture, and and then here it is. Wait, is this it where he breaks his? Yeah. So he got. Sorry, I'm just gushing over the Spider-Man comics. He goes, so Peter walks after getting this injury from fighting the Vulture in the comics. Peter walks into school with a broken arm. And Flash goes, how big brave Peter hurt his poor little arm? Did you try to turn too many heavy pages at one time, bookworm? Or did you drop a nasty little test tube on it in the lab? Oh, stupid. I love it. Flash is such like so in the movie, like Joe, hang on, Manganiello? How do you say man? Because I know who he is. Manganiello. Like he is hilarious, but like in the comics, he's like and I think that it was fine. Like wait, what is the line he says in the movie where he goes, he's like, it was an accident. He's like, your face is gonna be an accident or something like that. It was turning pages. It is hilarious to me that you were a baby when this movie came out, and I was a teenager and left in a broken RV in the Rocky Mountains. I was a little boy. I was. Let me see. What month did this movie come out? I was. This came out. What month? May. This came out on my sister's birthday. All right. So I was. 3 years old at the time of this particular. No, wait. Hang on. 1, 2. Was I 2 years old? I was 2 years old. I was gonna turn 3 in a little over 2 months, almost 3 months. Little baby. I was 22. I'm 24 now. I was 1. Yeah, I was a little, I was a little kid. So this had a profound impact on me. Of course, high school bullies are not quite what they appeared to be in this movie, uh, which I guess was a good thing. I wouldn't want to. What's the line he says in the movies? I wouldn't want to. I don't want to fight you, Flash. I wouldn't want to fight me neither. It's so good. The dialogue in this movie is so good. All right, everyone, give me your best because there's like actual good lines in the movie, right? I'm not saying the other ones aren't actual goods, but there's like heartfelt lines and there's like all the meme lines. High school movies weren't what they are in this movie. I agree. High school bullies were not what they are in this movie. Yeah, it's all right, so like in terms of my favorite joke lines, I mean obviously Bonesaw is ready. That's one of my favorites. I love when the I love when they literally have the guy on the stretcher. He's like, "Oh, my legs! I give me my legs." MCU 5 is different, but good in other ways. He is like goofy like the comics version, but I just prefer really dumb jock stereotype Flash Thompson. I do understand that he becomes more of a character, but fuck, dude, he's so funny. Like when I was little, I like looking back because I guess I read the comics when I was in college. So it was me more like looking back at high school. I probably wouldn't have appreciated him as much when I was little, but like he's so funny. Like he is like the high school bully stereotype perfectly. It's like he's so cartoonish. I love him. One of his friends, that's a cute outfit. Did your husband make it for you? That's a good one. And they kept it in the movie, which was good because I was like, are they going to censor that? And they didn't. That was a good one. Oh man, Octavia Spencer had a good one where she's like, count your blessings. Which, yeah, she is in this movie for 2 seconds. Oh, apparently, Bruce Campbell was gonna be Mysterio in the next because he does appear in all 3 Spider-Man movies. It's a crime against humanity that we didn't get Spider-Man 4. Like and Tomas, I don't know what you heard, but the rumors I heard for Spider-Man 4, I was talking about this earlier, were Carnage, Lizard, Black Cat. I think those are the main 3 I heard. And apparently none of that was in any way based in any form of reality. I think Mysterio was like one that I possibly heard. I don't know. I mean, there's still why are we getting a Kraven the Hunter movie? Like, why can't the Sam Raimi movies are simple and also not like here's the thing. Again, like I said, they have so many things that they get through, but they keep the story streamlined. And so, like, even though you have to like that's why they had organic weapons, because they wanted to keep the story like, focused. It's great. Even the juxtaposing origins, where it's like Willem Dafoe has it's like Peter gets bitten, then Willem Dafoe goes. I actually really liked how well written Green Goblin's origin story was. I thought he was much more, watching it this time around, much more sympathetic, where he's like, he's like, you really feel like he's losing it all, where it's like, oh, we can't do this. No, we got to go back to formula. And then it's like, back to formula. You know that? Where he's like, really, you could tell that he's like on the brink of losing his company. And so it makes sense why he goes for the human trial. I like all of that. And you could tell that he's in a lot of ways trying to be a good guy. I actually, because I'm always focused on Spider-Man, I really appreciated Green Goblin a lot in this version. Now, one thing I will say is I'm generally partial to, it being a reveal that Norman Osborn is the Green Goblin. That's what it was in the comics. That's what they did in Spectacular Spider-Man. That being said, for this movie, it works perfectly for him to not be, like, for it to be a mystery for Spider-Man, but not for the audience. We watch his full origin. In the comics, it's like Green Goblin actually appears multiple times before the Osborns even appear. So the Osborns weren't even, it's not like it was created for Norman Osborn to be the Green Goblin. That was like, who's the Green Goblin? I don't fucking know. Oh, it could be this Norman Osborn guy that we created. Like, that's how it was done in the comics. But it was still a mystery, right? They removed that mystery element from the movie, but I do think it worked. Willem Dafoe looking scrumptious in this movie. What the hell is wrong with you? Hang on. Like the faces he's making in this movie. That was up with women. All right. Anyway, so that was great. I do like the way they did that. And then when he's like, "Ow, am I?" and then he just kills those guys on the balcony. I'm like, "You go." They did fuck. This time I felt bad for them. Yeah, I heard Mysterio and maybe Vulture. That's what the accurate versions of Spider-Man 4. Those were, I guess, what people who were hearing reliable rumors were getting. But I got all my rumors about Spider-Man 4 from like kids on the school bus and stuff like that. So yeah, but no, I think that is my understanding is that it was going to be Mysterio was going to be a villain fought early on, and then it was going to be the Vulture, which I like the Vulture, but like he's a classic, right? He's not my how dare you gatekeeper Joe. I'm not. I was in the middle of talking, Ali. That tight old man body. How old was Willem Dafoe at this time? How old is he now? What about dude Willem Dafoe? Have you guys seen guess who's 48? No. He was 46. Willem Dafoe. He was in a Nosferatu movie recently, right? And I haven't seen that. Where was I? Hang on, where was I going? Oh, he's great in American Psycho too. Obviously, John Wick. Yeah, I mean, look. Willem Dafoe is the man. What was the movie I was talking about? Shit. It's the one with the Vikings. The Northman. He was really good in the Northman. He was like, "Don't take your fate." You know that. One of the Dafoe is an ageless one. Nosferatu. Oh, it's not out. That's why I haven't seen it. Okay. Boondock Saints. I haven't watched yet. Dude. Beetlejuice. That's what they're calling the second one. Why is it? Oh, all right. Anyway, yeah, I'm excited. Northman. Come on, aren't you a writer or editor? I never make spelling errors. Yeah, I do need to watch Boondock Saints. The theory I heard was that Bruce Campbell was playing Mysterio in disguise all the other movies. Yeah, that's the theory I heard because that makes sense because he's well, actually, that makes perfect sense because he's always in some way. Well, what does he do in Spider-Man 2? Because I know in the first one he's the guy doing the wrestling thing, and in the second one he's the guy who goes, and then he does the like that he can't enter the thing. He's at the theater, so I think he's always in some way in the movies or the theater, maybe not movies, but the theater, the entertainment business. And in the comics, Mysterio was a Hollywood effects guy, and he's very theatrical, and so he does work in related to theater in Spider-Man 3, and also the wrestling, which is like theatrical and whatever in the first one. So it would make sense for that to be Quentin Beck. He was the host of the French restaurant. Wait, then who is he? Oh, was the second one the one where he goes shh? Is that dude? It's like all these little scenes are so good. So good. Like oh my god, I love these movies so much. There's so many like little characters. Oh, Mr. Diktovich is in the second one. I love Mr. Diktovich. All right, hold on a second. Yeah, I wish I would have loved because Bruce Campbell as Mysterio was such good casting. Although I will say, he's a bit too good looking to be because but then again, they cast Jake Gyllenhaal, who's Jake Gyllenhaal, and Quentin Beck is supposed to be too ugly for show business. Was his whole character? But that's all. He was good at drawing ugly people. He was very good at it. He wasn't the best at drawing Pretty Woman, in my opinion. Were you Spider-Man for Halloween as a child? Also, in middle school, I was one year Spider-Man. Oh wait, no, I wasn't. I was Rorschach. No, I was actually Spider-Man for Halloween one year in middle school. I did Superman. I was Superman when I was little. I was probably Spider-Man one year, I think. The Red Ranger, Jango Fett. Who else have I been for Halloween? I don't know. He doesn't have. Oh, this is going to be a shitty edit where they're going to cut back and forth. No, just give me the scene. All right. Come on, guys. Like, I just want the scenes. Yeah. I got to get to work on my comic because otherwise I've been talking for like an hour. But thank you guys so much. One of my biggest influences on my comic was the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. As I mentioned, you know, I really, like, more than any comic I've ever read, this, especially watching it again, like the hero montages and everything, my biggest source of inspiration. So make sure you sign up for Phenomenova. And Bruce Campbell played Batman in the 90s. Raimi directed. Oh, that'd be, but as Batman? That'd be interesting. I don't know. That might have been good casting, actually. Holy shit, I never thought of that. You know, man, like, because Bruce Campbell doesn't give a shit about Marvel movies. I heard him say it at a panel at San Diego Comic-Con. And then after that, they put him in the next Spider-Man. I think he actually said that after he had filmed it. But, you know, who cares? He's Bruce Campbell. He can do what he wants. He's a badass. Oh, God, Bruce Campbell is the fucking man. Anyway, make sure to sign up if you haven't already. Rini's cover will be dropping soon. We got the fan art contest going. And we got this variant cover right here. This variant cover right here, which, by the way, I just got, I think, from my letterer. Like, we're going to have the names of the creators on these two covers. So that should be dropping tomorrow as well as the campaign tiers. And if you back day one, you will get this exclusive free trading card. I'm excited, and you guys should be too. Make sure you're signed up. If you aren't already, make sure you got those wallets ready, and you're going to back within the first 24 hours. I got to get back to work on this comic. I got some art waiting for me. My mini print, everyone who backs will get an exclusive free mini print, as well as the trade. So if you back day one, no matter what tier you back, you get, if you use that, as long as you use that, you're on the mailing list, you will get that free trading card and a free mini print in addition to whatever it is you back. So make sure that you do that. And I'm going to play the trailer as we head out. That mini print art is getting revealed tomorrow. I just got some like updated colors in, so I haven't even looked at it yet because I wanted to get back from the theater and gush about this movie. And I've realized, and I'm gonna stop this and realize, oh, I didn't talk about this. I should do like an organized podcast talking about this movie, but I just wanted to gush. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and let's play the trailer as we head out. Hope you guys have a great rest of your night.
When the whole world was dragged into World War III, brave men like my father fought on the front lines. And they weren't alone. That was 20 years ago. Now it's up to us to carry on their legacy. And every so often, the earth from which we come gives way for something new, something greater to be born. And with them, even greater threats to face. Bring it on! Phenomenal. For you, Dad. For you.